Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Combat Chats podcast. Today we're going to be going over the previous week's UFC card, the UFC fight night between Vera and Cruz, as well as the upcoming UFC 278. Should be an interesting one. Starting us off with the first fight, if you will.
Yeah, so first up, we'll just start with the main card. We had Bruno Silva against Gerald Meerschaert, and this one, to be fair, not necessarily the results surprised me, but the way the fight went kind of surprised me because obviously I think Bruno Silva fighting Alex Pereira last time out, who's one of the best kickboxers in the UFC, and he had a good, not necessarily competitive, but he got a few takedowns, landed a few good shots, and it ate a lot of his left hooks, which Gerald Meerschaert actually dropped him with a clean left hook. So does that mean Meerschaert had the best left hook in the UFC? I think he takes the title for that one.
I mean, it's really interesting to say. I think that I was about, it was,
That was a joke, by the way.
well,
Carry on.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, as about, he was I'd say he was. I want to say overly dominant,
Mm.
but it was very clear
Yeah.
that he was in charge, and the energy he was moving at.
Mm.
He was his movement from his body movements, his head movement to I think that with Jared Meerschaert, he's just such a good opportunist.
Yeah. He was looking like not obviously as agile and flexible, but like the way he was just leaning back because Bruno Silva is wild. The way he swings is so unorthodox, and he overreaches a lot. So Meerschaert saw a lot of those hooks come in, and he kind of just like that low back lean movement, which with Aziv's dodged a lot of kicks and etc. with. So yeah, he for me that's the sharpest we've seen him in a while. His striking looked very good. His kicks to the body, obviously the boxing was on point, and to drop him and then get the sub as well. He's a finisher. He's got a lot of submissions in the UFC. So yeah, I was very impressed with Meerschaert.
I think it's interesting what you said about Bruno Silva and him swinging very wildly because I think that against Jared Meerschaert in this fight, I feel like that definitely didn't play to his advantage at all. Because, Meerschaert being the opportunity is, the moment he swung like that, that's an open opportunity for him.
Yeah.
And I think someone like Meerschaert, someone who's got good striking, very clearly, probably more clearly from this bout than any of his previous ones. And
Yeah.
somebody who, was as sharp as him. I think that you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be overreaching. You don't want to be putting yourself in a position where you're going to be getting tagged up because you've overreached, because you've overexposed yourself. And Jared Meerschaert, I mean, on the ground, brutal.
Yeah, that front hand guillotine where he just didn't get the hooks in or didn't pull him into guard, he just wrenched the neck straight away. It's a brutal submission to watch the way he just squeezed, like you could see it draining out of him, and he had to tap in the end.
It's really interesting though because I think looking at Meerschaert, the way he submits a lot with opponents or the way he does well on his ground game is not necessarily when he's got the back or when he's in top mount and he's looking to get out armbar, but during transitions.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that that goes back to what I think with that and the energy he was displaying, just the opportunism, it really just played to his advantage. And I think that you need to be mindful of that. But I'm really, really impressed with the performance from him. Obviously, he's slightly more experienced in his fights and whatnot. But overall, generally very, very good fight.
Yeah, so the next fight it was Carrera against Lipski. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about, but what did you think about this one?
So it was interesting, really. I mean, I think that looking at Carrera, it's an awkward one, really, because it's hard to whenever you look at a fight which ends that quickly, it's hard to really make a major judgment because I wouldn't say that Lipski necessarily looked super poor. It's one of those things. Carrera is known for knockout power,
Yeah.
especially in that division. I don't know what her record is exactly, but I know she's got a lot of knockouts in the UFC.
Yeah, I remember she knocked out, I think it was Shauna Dobson before that fight with a big uppercut. So, and you could see the way she was loading up her hand, like she was aiming to hit Lipsky hard straight away, and she did that. And they went into kind of like a wild exchange. They were both swinging and hitting each other, but Carrera had a lot more power, and you could see that. So, yeah, that fight was quite straightforward. A good, easy win for Carrera.
I think that's the thing. I think it was a really fatal error going in like that. I think that to start off with, it looked like it was going to be quite a promising fight. But when you're fighting against a power punch like that, the last thing you want to do is try and slug it out.
I think Lipsy got a bit hurt and kind of just like kind of saw red, if you know what I mean, and just kind of tries to fight fire with fire, and Carrera hits very hard. So
That's the thing. It's something you don't want to be. You don't ever want to be necessarily overly cautious, but you want to be aware of the potential outcome. There's no point in trying to hit someone as hard as somebody who's hitting you if you can't hit that hard, and more importantly, if you're hurt,
yeah,
because it's only going to ever result in one thing. And I mean, within a minute, it was over. Basically, it could have been a really interesting fight. I thought she looked quite good.
Lipsy's a very talented fighter. She just got hit hard early. Like that, there's another day that fight could play out a different way.
And that's the thing, like you said, she got hit hard early. You're right. Like she looked, her boxing was very good up until she was hurt.
Yeah, she's got very good 1-2s. She's sharp, fast, but Carrera with loading up with that right hand, got the job done. So yeah, that's about it for that one.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Moving on to the next one, light heavyweight bout.
Yeah, we had Devin Clark against Murazakhanov. I think that's it. It was it kind of reminded me of Carrera because Murazakhanov was again like the first round was kind of close. Devin Clark landed that massive head kick that kind of wobbled him, but Murazakhanov was like he loads up with his right hand and he's got a lot of power, good footwork. He was very in and out, and it kind of looked like Devin Clark. He got hit a couple times clean in the first round, but when that second round started and he really felt Murazakhanov's power, that's what he kind of was backing up a lot. Murazakhanov didn't take a step back the whole fight, pretty much pushing him against the cage, and got the beautiful right hand to the body that ended the fight.
So that's a really interesting point you make about him never backing up. He was constantly pressing the whole time. He was constantly on it, constantly going forward. And it's just something which is very hard to deal with. I think that both of which are known for finishing.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you have two finishes, it can often end very quickly. This one did go 3 rounds, but I think that as that was probably just a bit too much for him that day. I thought that his wrestling was quite good.
Yeah,
If you noticed.
He obviously he's 12-0 and he's wrestled internationally as well. I'm not 100% what his credentials are, but I remember the commentary saying he's a very high level wrestler as well. So.
And I mean, I think that's one of the things when it comes down to the power, as you said, a lot of the power comes from the wrestling and the trying to defend the takedown. If you don't want him to take you down, when you're hitting that hard on the feet, you're hitting just hard on the ground.
Yeah.
And I feel like that wrestling, holding against the cage, the little bit of clinch work, all of that is so knackering, especially when he's on you constantly.
Yeah.
I thought I'd say this one was dominant.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very
dominant.
I
mean, I still give Asmat the first round, even though it was closer, but as soon as that first round was over, Asmat was. But he hits very hard. The noise of those body shots that he was connecting with Devin Clark were brutal.
Explosive.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm overall, very dominant performance. Just he looked so sharp.
Yeah.
And he was on it the whole time. And yeah, there's not a lot you can do about it, really.
Yeah, for me, Devin Clark looks like he's improving, but he's at such a heavy weight class, and all these guys hit so hard, and he's taken a lot of damage that it's just not at the rate he needs to be a top level fighter.
I think that's the thing. I think that with heavyweights and light heavyweights, there's so much power amongst all of them that a lot of fights are going to end in KOs, TKOs. Everyone has knockout power.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of fighters that aren't necessarily the most talented. Like you go up, and I was hearing this argument on Twitter that you stick Usman and Kobe at bantamweight, then they wouldn't be top 10 fighters or top 5 fighters, and it's like yeah, in that context maybe, but at the same time, the lower the weight classes get, the more skilled these guys usually are. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of
you
course.
see like flyweights and bantamweights, they're so fast and so like diverse in striking. And then you go up the weight class and you get to heavyweight and you get someone like Derek Lewis who has world-class power and precision, but not necessarily great grappling and MMA skills that would usually get you to as far as he's got.
Well, that's the thing. It's a very good point you make. I don't think it's necessarily to do with skill per se, but I know what you mean, as in the level of technical ability, the technique. It's not always as accurate. There are a lot of fighters who will do very well in the heavyweight division or will remain in the top 15 just for having sheer power. They might not have the best defense. They might not be able to do much in the ground grappling wise. They might be able to pin you down, but they might not be able to
Well,
tackle
it's
you much.
yeah,
But as you said, a lot of it comes down to a lot of that heavy knockout power, and it's a good point you make about the lighter divisions.
mm,
But like you down, I feel like the best division or one of the best examples before you start getting to the point of maybe heavier hitters, and even then, you still got a long way to go from this division to the heavier hitting division. Because obviously, middleweight, welterweight, lightweight is very good. So you look at something like featherweight.
mm,
Featherweight's full of such good technical fighters. You have some
yeah,
hard hitters in that division, but they're all just so technically strong.
yeah.
Zombie,
Yeah, Zombie,
Volkanovski.
Max, Volk. Like you look at them, and I mean Max and Volk were both on the top 10 pound for pound lists. So both on top 10 best fighters in the UFC when they fought each other for the title recently. So I think it's kind of like a situation where the bigger you get as well, the more like natural physical attributes you can rely on. Like we spoke about Muhammad Usman last week, and he's outmatched in a lot of his fights, but he's so big and powerful that he can kind of just lean on that, so they don't have to take as much concentration on becoming the perfect fighter because they like with these bantamweights that you gotta master every aspect because the speed they move at and stuff like that too.
Of course, and a lot of the time they're not hitting inside of the heavyweights,
Mm,
obviously, but they're not always necessarily hitting with power. And that's a good point you made about flyweights.
yeah,
Flyweights, although obviously they do knock each other out and whatnot, it's not in the same powerful context as you're seeing. You're not seeing these really early first round finishes
yeah.
constantly.
We've probably only seen like maybe five flyweights that really have one punch KO power. And that's Benavidez there, Figueiredo, Kai Kara France. Like these guys, there's a few other early on as well that have enough power to put you out in one shot. But yeah, like
And even then with fighters like Figueiredo, when you're cutting 40 pounds,
yeah,
you're fighting a lot heavier than a lot
yeah,
of fighters anyway.
he's huge.
I mean, not as if any of these fighters don't cut weight.
Mm,
They all are, but not necessarily to that extent. But
yeah.
anyway, moving on to the next one.
Yeah, so the next one was Yasmin, I think it's Howagri or something like that. Both Yasmin's. Lucido was, I think she's 20 years old, that which is crazy,
Mm.
and she was very fast, powerful, explosive. But Howagri was just kind of she kept the punch, it kept it a bit more simple, kept the punches straight, used a lot of good kicks. Um, it was a close fight, but I think that's why she was landing the cleaner shots on Lucido. Lucido would come in with these five punch combinations of very fast hooks, but at the end of the day, straight punches will always beat looping punches, and Helgari was proving that. So yeah, 1-2s down the middle were very effective in this one.
I think that both have really good box ability, but
Mm,
I think, as you said about the cleanness and the accuracy, a lot of these swinging punches they don't always land, and a lot of them, although yes, if you get hit with one, it's going to cause some serious damage. But
mm,
if you're not landing them, if you're throwing these wild strikes all the time, you need to be landing,
yeah,
and you need to be landing consistently enough to be able to cause severe damage throughout the fight, tire them up potentially, or just maybe get that KO. Obviously, it's a little easier to say he's get a KO than it actually is to pull off and whatnot.
mm,
I thought they looked both really good,
yeah,
really good.
yeah, and
Both very technical. They said about Yadam's kicks.
yeah.
Very sharp, very good. I'd say Muay Thai base.
Yeah, 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 definitely. She was very heavy on the low kicks, body kicks, threw some high kicks in there as well. So, yeah, it was a very impressive performance. And she's only how Gary's only 23 and Lucinda's 20, so both very young prospects to keep an eye on. I think they can both go very far in the UFC, especially I think it's Lucindo. She impressed me a lot because she was she wasn't outskilled, but I think it was just a bit of a lack of experience. She gets a bit overexcited every time. Every time she get hit, she'd rush in with these wild combinations, and I think if she tightens it up, I think she'll be a problem for a lot of these fighters.
Oh, definitely so, definitely so. I do agree. Yeah, as you said, both very young. At least they've been 20. With yeah, the other Yasmin. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her name. Being only 23 years of age, so both very young, both a lot of runs for me, both very impressive.
Mm,
So a lot to look forward to in the future.
yeah, definitely. So the next one we are moving on to. We had one of the fights of the year in Nate Landwehr against David Onama. It was the first round was a bit dicey, but he came back and put on a show for the fans. What were your thoughts on this one?
I mean, what a performance!
It was insane.
It was really interesting. It was actually really interesting to see the significant strikes
Mm,
recorded as well because first round I think Onama had the greater, and then I think it was something like what 55 to 8 or something like that. You know,
yeah.
like 50 to 8 strikes per second
Mm.
round, and then third round was a tad tighter, but regardless, it was only tighter with significant strikes. It wasn't too much tighter, but the best thing about it I thought was just the showmanship.
Definitely. And the way he pretty much got knocked out in that first round, like he fell like he was unconscious and kind of woke back up right after he hit the floor, Landwehr did. And for him to rally back and put in that performance afterwards, a dominant performance really. Onama was so tired, like
Yeah,
that's as exhausted as I've seen someone in the UFC. He was flopping around. I think it was Bisping or DC said he's getting big brothered right now,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that was a very good explanation because he was getting ragdolled.
That was third round, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was a very good fight. I'm glad it went the distance because Onama came back a bit in the third round, landed some good shots, and that really does make, in my opinion, that makes the fight more legendary when you look back and it's gone the distance and both men have been hurt and can put on a show. But one thing I did want to ask you about is Landwehr. He kept getting him in really good like positions to finish, like mounting him, and he was like dropping elbows, and he had him in side control at one point, and then he just get up and like wave the fans on. And do you think if you're having that much fun, then yeah, fair enough, or do you think you should just be going for the kill there?
I mean, it's one of those things, really. I think a lot of it comes down to how the fighter wants to go about it. It was clear that he was confident that he had that last round.
Yeah.
You know, he was. It was clear that he confidently had the fight.
One judge gave it a draw as well, which is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't quite agree with that one, but
Mm,
yeah, no, I think when you're doing stuff like that, you know, it does really just bring the fight to another level, and he could have finished him. There were a few times the ref could have probably
yeah,
gone
yeah.
on.
And
If I'm honest, which I remember at one point, I think Onama was getting savagely beaten on the ground,
mm,
and obviously he was just knackered. You know, it wasn't like he wasn't in the fight. You know, he was
yeah.
just having a hard
I don't
time.
think he was ever like really hurt at any point. He just looked completely out of it.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, yeah. I mean, he could have been hurt, but he certainly kept going.
Mm,
You know, he didn't look as if he was about to get dropped. We're saying that when you're that fatigued, you could look like anything.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought that with that fight, if you're confident in doing so, then go for it. And to be fair, Onama was doing it himself.
Yeah, yeah. Norma was in that third round. He started taunting back. You could tell he realized what was happening here. He might be getting beaten up, and it might suck now. But when you look back on that, I mean, he might not be happy when he looks back on that because I think even when he was tired and he did hurt him, he just rushed so much. Like he left
Mm.
himself open for takedowns. And although you're that tired and you've really got to put something together to finish the fight, like that, in my opinion, that's not the way to get a finish. Like if you're just every time that you burst a bit of energy, you're just going to go wild and be reckless. Fighters can read that at that level, and I think if he was a bit more patient during the fight, even when he knocked him down, he thought obviously he was pretty much out, and it looked like the fight was over, but. He just went crazy. It reminded me of Gilbert Burns against Usman when he dropped Usman and just tired himself out in the first round just trying to get the finish. And some people are just so tough, and the Landwehr proved he was and got the 50K bonus, which he claims he doesn't care about. Which his attitude is he's such a legend. He kind of reminds me of like Nate or Nick Diaz. Like he just loves to fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, very much so, very much so.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, overall, what performance? They're saying like performance of the summer,
yeah.
performance of 2022, maybe.
Some people saying fight of the year, which I think if it was a bit more competitive, I would have gave it like a fight of the year contender, but it was definitely up there. I think Gage Chandler was this year, wasn't it? So I think that one takes it too.
Very much so, very much so. It's just so impressive, really. I think they both look really good.
Yeah.
Landwehr, I mean, where's he two and where's he two in February?
I'm not sure if these guys are ranked because they're both like prospects. I know He's beat Darren Elkins. He lost to Herbert Burns. So yeah, I don't think he's ranked yet, but he's going to be looking for that.
Oh, definitely so, definitely so. Anyway, yeah, what performance? Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, so this was the main event, and we called it pretty spot on last week, but I think Dominic Cruz impressed us both at how youthful he looked in there. That's what sprang to my mind. He's still so fast. Like he's still one of the fastest people in that division, and I think he's 37 years old, taking a bit of damage, and I was very impressed with him. It looked like he maybe took the first 2 or 3 rounds, but he did get dropped in each of them right at the end. Do you, even though he got dropped, do you give him the first 2 rounds? I did personally, just because how much he really put on Cheeto in those first 2 rounds. Got takedowns as well, but a knockdown, that's a big moment in a fight.
See, I feel like he may have got those first 2 rounds just because of the pure volume. And as you said about the knockdown and the takedowns, I feel like that may have potentially earned him the first 2 rounds.
Mm.
I think with Cheer's performance, I don't think it was necessarily a matter of him beating up so much. It was just his calm and his collectedness,
Yeah.
and it's just his IQ to pick the correct shots and to do it effectively and not really run away. Well, not run away at all.
Do you know what I like about it about Chito Vera is he has no wasted movement. Like everything he does is effective. Like every bit of footwork he does is to cut you off the cage. Every leg kick he throws is a damaging one. Every punch he throws is with fight-ending intentions. And we saw that. I think it was the first round he caught him with a left hook, hurting bad. And I got no proof here, but I was watching it with my mates, and they were like, "Oh, I think Dom might get the decision." And I literally said, I think Cheeto can catch him with a head kick, and it was the same round he did it because Dom, like Cheeto said afterwards, does like to lean out that certain direction, and I think Cheeto knew that. Do you know what I mean? I think he had no worry of running out of time in that fight. I think he knew he was going to get the finish.
Oh, definitely so, definitely so. And I think that the way he went about the fight was very much correct. He didn't rush it.
Mm.
It was all just a very calm, collected, and pretty savage performance.
Yeah, that's a perfect word to describe Chio as savage. I've been saying for a while now. I think I said when we broke down his Rob Font fight, I truly believe he can become a champion in this division because we saw him. He's been in the UFC for a very long time now. He's one of the best chins in the UFC and one of the most underrated defenses. I gave Dom the first 2 rounds because he was landing, but I give Cheeto that third round because even though it went a similar fashion, I mean, Cheeto's defense, everything bouncing, deflecting off his arms. He very rarely gets hit clean, and I think he's a problem for everyone in that division. Him and Peter Yan is a great fight. I think he maybe should fight the winner of Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley. I think a rematch against Sean, if Sean goes out there and knocks out Peter Yan, would be a huge fight.
That'd be very interesting to see how
Mm,
that would go along.
yeah, what did you think about the knockout? He obviously threw out the jab to make him lean that way, and then just beautifully timed kick.
I think that all goes back to just how cute he fights.
Mm,
With his just general fight IQ and just knowing what to do.
yeah.
There's nothing about him which is you don't look at him and think to yourself like you're wild.
Mm.
He's
No,
just calm
yeah,
and
yeah,
collected
oh,
and accurate and clean, and he just knows what to do and he knows what to throw when. And I mean, it was a very very nice knockout. It was frustrating to see Dominic
yeah.
get knocked out, but
Was it sad for you watching that because he's such a legend in sport? Like, although I thought it was going to happen, when Dom fell like that and his nose was bent across his face, it was a hard. We've seen a lot of legends go down like that recently, like the Tony one with Chandler as well. And it's just like it's hard being an MMA fan, you know. I'm not even the biggest fan of Dominic Cruz, but watching that wasn't easy.
I mean, it's one of those things. I think that a lot of these fighters, especially who are, in their later 30s now, who are really getting out there.
Mm,
I mean, it's just something you have to anticipate.
yeah.
It's just one of those things. We've got a great generation of fighters coming up,
Mm,
and a lot of these fighters, they're very close to the end of their career now.
yeah.
It's expected really they're fighting very high level
Mm,
competition. I have this with a lot of fighters, a lot of great fighters. It's as expected, really. I mean, it's never nice to see. Well, it's nice to see. It's a nice finish,
yeah, like I get
but
excited, but at the same time, it's like, oh man. But For me, Cheeto is one of my favorite fighters to watch now at the moment. Like he's so calculated. Everything he does is so like methodical. You know what I mean?
Mm.
He's such a dangerous fighter, and I cannot wait to his next fight, which hopefully won't be too far away. And I want it to be a big fight. Like I want him to fight one of the top guys in this division. Obviously, he lost to Aldo a few fights back, but that one back. If I think Aldo might get a title shot if he beats Dashvili, but a lot of these fights are booked, which is the hard thing. But maybe Chio will have to sit out for a while now.
Maybe so, maybe so. Anyway, moving on to the upcoming card, UFC 278. It's an alright card, not bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, we got a good main card, some good prelim fights, but yeah, we'll just go over the main card.
why not? Why not? Anyway, kicking off the main card, we're gonna go for the Tyson Pedro Harry Hunsucker bout, light heavyweight. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so obviously Tyson Pedro is at one point was a very tight prospect. I think he was like 24 or 25 when he came into the UFC, and he got some big wins under his belt. He was the first person to beat Paul Craig. He's got a very good ground game, and his striking just keeps getting better. And Harry Hunsucker, on the other hand, he's struggled a little bit. You know, he's been fighting at heavyweight. He's coming down to make his light heavyweight debut, which in my opinion, will help him a lot because at heavyweight he showed very fast, powerful hands, and I think coming down, fighting people who aren't. I mean, he fought Justin Taffer, who missed weight at heavyweight, weighed in at 200, I think it was 267 pounds, and Justin Taffer ended up on top of him, ground and pounding him, and Hunsucker's a small heavyweight man, so I think coming down to light heavyweight will help him a lot.
I think his nickname's like the Hurricane, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
You know, which explain quite a lot about speed and whatnot. Yeah, no, I think it's a good point you make about moving down. I think that the heavyweight division, there's the guys in there just massive,
Mm.
and I think to be somebody who's not that big, or who's not as big as that, when and you're fighting consistently against top level heavyweights, you're gonna have a hard time.
And he's fought good, like Taffer's a big, powerful guy. He fought Tai Tuivasa, who's
Mm.
about to fight Cyril Gane for the number one contender spot. Like he hasn't had easy fights, and I don't know if he's even won a fight yet, but he's I know he lost on Contender Series, but he is a talented guy, and I think that's why Dana likes him. But I think it's very important he gets the win for this one. I think he's very fast, but he overreaches a lot on a lot of his punches. And Tyson Pedro, I'm pretty sure, is training with Eugene Berriman and Izzy and Volkanovski and people like that now. So I think his striking is going to be even better than what it was. And although I think he's only fought once since like 2018 or twice, and so I think he'll be sharp. And I'd like to see Hunsucker do well, but I think I'll go Tyson Pedro, and I think he might get the finish. I'm going to say second round.
I mean, it's a hard one, really. It would be nice to see him not get finished. His last two fights, he was finished in the first round both times.
Yeah, against big guys,
Oh
man.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Was it Ty and Taffer back to back or not?
It was. It was.
And now he's fighting another.
50 seconds in.
Yeah. Now he's fighting another Samoan.
Mm. But
not
yeah,
fun.
to be fair, you can't look at the title rather for yourself.
Yeah.
50 seconds in, that guy can very much finish it. In 50
I think
seconds.
he damaged him with leg kicks very bad early on as well. Like I think he hit him with 3 leg kicks and he was on one leg, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, no, not where you want to be in. I'm not too sure who's gonna win this one. Obviously, Tyson Pedro. Neither of them are super old. You know what I mean? I believe they're like both like they're not super young, but they're
Pedro 30, I think.
30 years of age. So they're kind of like that, that age where they could really go on to do something.
Yeah.
It's certainly not too late in their careers and whatnot. It's a hard one, really. I'd be interested to see how he does at light heavyweight. I think it will benefit him, but I think regardless, just the caliber of competition, I can't see him winning this weight. Don't know if it's gonna be a KO, but it could be. I think moving down is gonna make it a lot harder to KO him.
Yeah.
We're saying that light heavyweights hit as hard as heavyweights at
I
times.
think one thing to watch out for is, and it plays on Harry Hunsucker's side, is last time out, Pedro was he does this thing where he likes to make his hands very wide and he kind of leans back. It's the technical way of moving, but at the same time, if someone's running forward like a train trying to take your head off, yeah, and you can leave your chin in the air by doing it. So that is a thing to watch out for, and he could capitalize on that and get a big right hand and knock Tyson Pedro out. But yeah, I think I'll go with Pedro. I think he's probably got a better ground game, overall a better striker. I think I kind of pick him apart from the outside and find a big shot or a submission.
Quite a few submissions as well, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
I think it's interesting actually because looking at his last 5 fights, I think there was something like I think last 6 fights anyway. Paul Craig,
Mm.
OSP,
Yeah.
Shigemura.
Yeah, and he started very well against OSP, rocked him with a head kick, but it went to the ground, and he actually I think he was the one who took it to the ground, but OSP's just a crafty veteran, and getting tied, but anyone can get tied up by OSP.
Oh, very much so. Anyway, moving on to the next one, if you will.
Yeah, so we have Yanan Wu against I think it's Padolovic. And this fight for me is they're quite similar in the fact they use a lot of side to side movement. Padolovic, her jab, 1-2, she uses a lot of straight punches. She's very aggressive. Um, for me, I don't know loads about either. I think Wu's been in the UFC a very long time now, but they're both on 3 fight losing streaks, I think. So it's going to be a very important fight to see who can get the win. But yeah, I can't go into much detail on this one, but from my research, I've got Podolovic. I think she's a bit more aggressive. She can use straight shots, but I think Yanan's a bit more technical, and she could kind of pick her apart. But Podolovic, the aggression, I think, can get her this win. But it's a pick 'em for me. I'm not 100%.
You see, I'm going to go the same way with you, really. I can't say I've seen a lot from our reviews. As you said, they neither of which have done particularly well in recent times.
Mm,
I think the aggression is what's going to do it.
yeah.
I think Pilarova's aggression is just going to be a bit too much for her.
Mm.
But regardless, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see how both of them do as well.
Yeah, I think they both have a decent ground game. I remember watching one of her fights and she snapped up an armbar in seconds. It was very nice. So maybe if it goes to the ground, she could do something similar. But yeah, I'm not 100% on that one. But we're gonna go into the big ones now, and next we have Jose Aldo, the legend, the King of Rio against Merab Dashvili. This for me. I'm the most excited for this fight, apart from obviously, hopefully seeing Leon Edwards become the second British champion. Dashvili Aldo for me is one of the standout fights of the year and on this card. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Oh, honestly, I cannot wait for it. I think
Mm,
it's going to be such an interesting bout. I really like to see how they take this one.
mm,
Honestly, I just think that I just feel like it would be so nice to see him going back up. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I think that it's a really challenging opponent. Merab, he's so good on the feet. He's so good on the ground. Aldo, his striking
Mm,
is next level.
yeah.
And versatility wise, he's very good at wrestling. I think he's like a jiu-jitsu black belt,
And
which makes a lot of sense to be
and
fair.
he's got like he kind of revolutionized like an anti-wrestler striker in the UFC. He was one of the first guys to come through who was so good at striking, like no one could compete with him at striking, and he always had near to 100% takedown defense. Like he's been fighting 18 years now, and I think he's got a 90% takedown defense still, which is crazy for a lot of good wrestlers. And I kind of favor him in this matchup because if Dashvili can't take him down, we saw what Marlon Moraes did to him last time out early on the feet. And I think Aldo is not a similar fighter, but he's a fighter who creates damage. He hits very hard at 135. We saw Rob Font. Every time he hit Rob Font, there was a crazy reaction. I think he's on a 3 fight win streak now too. Is that right?
As it is,
Yeah, who is it? Font, Vera, and
Pedro Munoz.
and we've seen what Marlon Vera's doing right now. So two wins there that are fighters at the top of that division. And if he can beat Dashvili, get a title, yeah, I think he's next in line for a title shot. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with Aldo. I think Dashvili's very tough, so I think he might be able to survive the 3 rounds. I think if it was a 5 round fight and Dashvili got to drag him into the deeper water a bit like Peter Yan did, then I'd favour him. But 3 rounds, I think Aldo will win the first two, win a decision. That's my pick on that one.
You see, it's an interesting one because I think Dash Valley, he's very, very good on the ground. As you said about the 9% takedown defense, it's hard to take Aldo down.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, and I think that's where he'd mostly be effective. I mean, not to say, obviously Aldo's ground game is very strong.
He's scrambling. When he gets taken down, the transitions he can put people through to get back up. He is so explosive. Like we've seen, he's so powerful and quick. And all his career, he's been the same. He will pop right back up against wrestlers like Chad Mendez as well. So this fight is, in my opinion, it's a very tough matchup for Merab. These guys, he trains with Sterling and Ala Quinta. They're all very strong wrestlers. So it's a very interesting matchup. I want to see Aldo use his leg kicks in this one because he went to it a bit in the Peter Yan fight, and back in the day, I remember Faber's leg after that fight. It was all purple from the leg kicks. He's got some of the most brutal leg kicks in MMA. So I think if he goes to that, he's just got to cause damage. I think that's how he wins this fight.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, I think I feel like Merab is so tough.
Yeah.
I feel like his toughness. Mariah's, you looked at him during Mariah's, he was giving it back. He was getting it and he was giving it back, and he was really, really going for it. And he was getting hit hard.
And Moraes is one of the hardest hitting bantamweights of all time. He's knocked out Aljamain Sterling, he knocked down Rivera and submitted him straight after. He's got some unbelievable knockouts on his record, and for Dashvili, no one has ever taken that much punishment straight away from a fresh Marlon Moraes. No one's ever done that. So that just proves how tough he is.
Exactly. And I think with Jose Aldo, with him being as powerful as he is, I think that's really gonna. I think he's gonna do well reacting to it. I really do. I think about the leg kicks. I think the leg kicks are gonna be the most important thing in this bout. I can't see it getting to the ground much, and if it does, I can't imagine it's going to stay on the ground for much longer. Or they say Merab is wrestling.
I think he needs to tire Aldo out, and to do that in 3 rounds is so hard. He's going to have to show some really good striking, and he's going to have to mix it up well to be able to win this fight.
I'm really looking forward to this one. For a prediction, it's a hard one really because it could probably go either way. Very, 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 very confident in saying that, but yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Jose Aldo just because I want to see him win.
Are you saying decision, or do you think he can? Do you think he can finish Merab?
No.
I think he could with. I think he could with those body shots, man. Anyone can get done by a left hook to the liver, and Aldo's done that to so many people. So I think that would be a big weapon too. I think Aldo here has just got to show. Obviously, he's got this highlight reel of all these strikes that he throws, the leg kicks, the hooks to the body, and the slip counters. I think those are the 3 most effective weapons to win this fight. And I think, obviously, he doesn't kick much anymore. I don't know if he's got bad legs from how long he's been doing it, but I think if he can use the leg kicks and knees as well, I think he can win this fight. Although the leg kicks could get him taken down, I think he's good enough to pop back up. So that's why I'm going Aldo.
I'm going to give Aldo 2. I'm going to go for a decision. Just
Same.
because, although, it's a good point you made about the body shots, actually. Aldo, the amount of power he has with the accuracy, the left hook, I think in a 5 round, maybe could finish him in a 5 round, but I didn't feel like 15 minutes is long enough.
I feel like none of them can finish each other in 3 rounds, but either of them could finish each other in a 5 round fight.
Oh, definitely so. I mean, to be fair, this could be a 5 round fight as well.
Yeah, I wish it was, to be honest.
Yeah.
A main event of a fight like this would be perfect, but
I mean, all 3 fights in the main card could be 5 rounds.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the next one. Should we go on to that now?
Sure, let's go for it.
Yeah, so next up we've got Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold, which is a big fight in this middleweight division. Obviously, Luke Rockhold hasn't fought since 2019, so he's had a few years out, and he got KO'd by Blachowicz, he got KO'd by Romero, and he beat David Branch in between, but got KO'd by Bisping as well. So, he's been on a bit of a tough run, and he's not coming back to pick an easy fight in Paulo Costa, because Paulo is a wrecking ball when he's on form, and he looks in fantastic shape, not coming in 25 pounds heavy this time. So how do you see this one playing out?
I mean, I feel like if Luke leaves a bit more, then maybe win one of the last three fights.
Maybe to
But
achieve the bit more, you know.
they didn't quite succeed enough. But I think that I think it's an interesting one. It's a challenging bout when you come off for three losses and you're coming at somebody like Paulo Costa. It's a bizarre one, really. It feels a bit daft almost.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I feel
Fair
like
play to him though. It's a ballsy move.
that's the thing. That's the thing. You know, assuming Costa meets weight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when's that weigh in?
It will be Friday, so I think he actually will. He looks like he's having a weight cut, that's for sure. Skinny in the face. So.
It's fine. They'll do a catch weight. They'll do a catch weight.
They would. They would.
Luke Rockhold, he believe enough. He believe enough. But no, I think that it should be an interesting one, really. I think that Luke Rockhold, I don't feel like his movement, looking at his last few forms, is quite up to scratch. I feel like with Paulo Costa, he's very good at defending the wrestling. He's good at wrestling, but he's just such an offensive and aggressive and push forward fighter. And I think that Luke Rockhold is going to struggle with that, especially if he doesn't try and do anything to try and defend against that. It's going to be hard to take Paulo Costa down. It's hard for anyone to take Paulo Costa down.
Yeah.
He's got a very, very good takedown defense, and with him looking as sharp as he does at the moment and whatnot, who's to say how he'll do? But I think with Rockhold, if he gets caught clean by Paulo even just a few times,
yeah,
it could be finished very early on.
I think to win this fight, Luke has to be able to control Paulo Costa on the ground early on because obviously like there's a big thing that Rockhold has no chin now because how many times he's been knocked out, but he fought a Michael Bisping who took the fight on 2 weeks' notice and knew he couldn't go 5 rounds, so came out swinging for the bleachers. He fought Yoel Romero, who's one of the scariest, most vicious MMA fighters of all time. And then he got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz, who, again, is known for that scary KO power. So that's three knockouts there that, I mean, if they're on your record, you're not going to look back and say you've got no chin because Romero knocked you out. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the question for me. I think if his chin's gone, I can't see him winning this fight because Paulo will land on him at some point. And if he can't take it, then he's going to get knocked out. But I think he has to drag Paulo down for the first round and a half and kind of take a bit of wind out of him, take a bit of power off, use some of his left kicks. Paulo kind of freezes in front of kickers like Uriah Hall. He kind of throws in the pocket a bit sometimes, obviously. Quite a dominant performance, but early on he was getting tagged up with the jabs and the front kicks. So I think Luke's got to blast him, keep his hands up, man, because that's his biggest problem. That left hand is so low. He's been left hooked so many times. Like Bisping exposed that, and since then he's just knockout after knockout.
I mean, it's a good point to make about his chin. I think that it's hard to determine whether he had lost his chin or not, because as you said, the 3 fights which he did have, they were all against massive, powerful, big fighters. You know, Jan Blachowicz, if you get knocked out by Jan Blachowicz, you get knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. Doesn't instantly mean you have a bad chin.
Yeah.
You know, you get knocked out by Bisping on short notice, you haven't got a bad chin. Bisping hits very hard. Yoel Romero, like Paulo Costa, very much just a genetic freak, you know, when it comes down to just his power and his size and his body composition. So whether he has a chin or not, I'm not too sure. Saying that even if he does have a chin, he's going to want to be cautious because Paulo Costa, regardless of whether you got a chin or not, it's Paulo Costa.
And like his chin, even if he did have a chin, it doesn't save his terrible defense. And you know, I'm more of a fan than Luke Rockhold now than I ever have been because I think Luke Rockhold. I don't want to be like mean by saying this, but I think it's fair to say he's one of the more hated fighters on the roster because his arrogance, and that's kind of what led to the downfall of him. But I think watching his videos, he seems more down to earth now. He seems training with Perillo, who trained Bisping to knock him out. I think that's a move for his ego that couldn't have been easy, going and training with Bisping's coach. And he seems locked in, obviously training with Vera as well. So he's been around the fight and now he was there at the weekend. But for me, I think I've got to go with Paulo Costa. I think it's going to be a finish again.
I agree. I 100%.
I think Luke's going to do okay in the first round, get kind of hurt near the end, similar to Blachowicz, and then get finished in the second.
You see, I think it could potentially be late first round, midway through second. I can't see it making it to the third. I think that with, as you say about him being very susceptible to that hook,
Mm.
I think you look at Paulo Costa fight, he does throw a lot of big shots. He's not necessarily leaning in, but the moment he gets in close range,
If Luke's got to stay away from the fence, he cannot let Paulo Costa back him up because Paulo Costa walked down Yoel Romero and put him against the fence and went to town with hooks on him. So imagine Luke Rockhold, what would happen in that scenario. That is not something that Luke needs to stay away from the fence.
I mean, even if you look at the Uriah Hall KO, it was
Yeah,
all from close range.
yeah,
It was there's a hook, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
You know, and he's had a few finishes like that.
Mm.
So I think that it's something which you definitely need to be cautious of, really. Bit trained with Bisping's coach. Perhaps he has learnt to defend against fighters who tend to fight like that, or maybe he's become a bit more aware of it, or maybe he's become, a bit more receptive of what to do.
Mm.
I think that if he does pull it off, fair play to him. But it's gonna have to be a Paulo Costa finish.
Yeah, if Luke pulls it off, it'll be a massive win for his career because that's a top 7 fighter coming back after all these tough losses. And then that's putting you right back in there. Like, that's 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot if you can pull off a win against Paulo Costa. And thinking that might happen a year ago would be crazy. So if he can come back and win this fight, it would be as big as a win in any of his career because that really reboots him and earns some respect back. I remember when Weidman was on his losing streak and he came back and fought someone lower in the ranks. I think it was I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember he got the takedown. It wasn't the best fight, but it earned respect back from the fans. And Luke isn't going for an easy option here. He's going for someone who could knock him out again. And I respect it, but at the same time, it's like, I wonder who his manager is, and do you know what I mean?
Self-managed.
Yeah, I guarantee he is. I want to know that, but
I'd love to see Paulo Costa's, just general social media response after winning.
Or even after losing.
Yeah. I just like to see him before, during, and after the fight, just anywhere on social media. Start messaging random Luke Rockhold, whatever it is.
I knocked you out. Wrong Luke Rockhold, bro.
I'm mental, really. I mean, he's definitely an interesting character. Just everything he does. I genuinely think he's just a walking meme.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's because he wants to be a meme.
He's like a meme machine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's not.
He just like processes out memes. If you haven't seen his Twitter, like you guys are missing out big time because he's like messaging random people called Nate Diaz and terrorizing just civilians.
Wishing some random Dana White happy birthday.
Yeah.
But nah, I mean, it's mental, really. He is a meme machine. He does just love it. And some of the stuff he says, looking back at it now, a lot of it was probably like with excuses. And I feel like, although a lot of that may have been an excuse, maybe they weren't really excuses. Maybe he was just embracing and taking the piss. Yeah,
and elbowing the nurse in the face. Do you remember that happened a while back?
I mean, allegedly he didn't actually.
No, he didn't. But he said I didn't elbow her in the face. I should kick her in the face or something.
Yeah. I mean, what he's got to do is go at elbow Rockhold, KO preferably, and then make some tweet.
He'll like Photoshop Rockhold's face onto a nurse or something.
That would be absolutely mental, and that's something he'd do as well. He's such a quality personality. Like, he must have way too much spare time on his hands.
I wonder if he runs his Twitter or he just pays some comedian to do it.
I reckon he does.
I hope so, man.
He looks like he'd be a fun person.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
He's drinking a bottle of red wine just before he fights the best kickboxer in the UFC, so that's my kind of guy. People can take the piss, but I'd like to go out drinking with that guy.
Even that bit, right? That seems like I reckon that's more of a joke than an excuse.
Maybe.
Because I was thinking when I first saw that, that is such rubbish. But maybe he was just trying to make a meme out of himself.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe he was just at the meme machine.
Like you see Deontay Wilder when he lost to Tyson Fury. Like when he was coming out with the excuses, like his coaches spiked him and Fury had concrete in his gloves and stuff like that. That was real and that was painful to watch. And Paulo Costa does just seem like everything he says is meant for a reaction. So
there's absolutely no way whatsoever you're saying that as a serious, genuine excuse or a serious, genuine explanation. I think Deontay Wilder, didn't you say the suit was too heavy?
Yeah, he said he had a 40-pound suit on and. Yeah, he's a 240-pound man who runs up mountains with that shit strapped to him. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, in all fairness, you probably shouldn't walk out something that heavy.
I bet it wasn't that heavy.
I don't know, man. It looked pretty
And
like bulky, mind.
I heard him say on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was like, "Oh, he has like gypsy voodoo magic and stuff like." He was saying stuff like that.
You never know that that's the thing. You just can't
Oh,
prove these
God.
things. But
Yeah.
yeah. Fair play to Rock if he pulls it off. I think we're both fairly confident on the outcome of this one,
Yeah.
and I will be relatively surprised.
I'll be very surprised. I kind of hope I'm a massive fan of Paulo Costa, but I'd love Luke to get it done. Like, I just love it'd be a massive win.
No, 100%. Anyway, moving on to the next event. What an event it would be.
We are very excited for this one because we have another British guy going for a title. I think Darren Till was definitely the last one, and I don't know if there's been any other English person to fight for a title. Off the top of my head, I don't think there has been apart from Bisping, obviously.
Wow, Murray. Did he ever fight for a title?
Maybe like a Cage Warriors or something, but
Okay.
I don't not UFC title. He was too busy robbing banks when he got into the
Yeah, yeah.
UFC.
Heisting 110 mil where it was.
Yeah, but
Gold bars and
this matchup for me, Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman. I think people are looking over Edwards a lot. I think he has all the skills. Obviously I'm going to be a bit biased here, but I generally believe he has all the skills to pull this off and win the belt. I'm not saying he will, but I think his striking's better than Usman's. Obviously I don't think he has as much power, and well, we know he doesn't have as much power as
no.
Kamaru, but his wrestling's got so much better since they last fought 7 years ago. And Kamaru didn't even dominate in the wrestling exchanges there. So 7 years on, and we see Leon taking down Nate Diaz at will, taking down RDA at will. So I think this is a very interesting matchup. This is a close one for me. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I mean, it's an interesting one. It would be really interesting to see how Leon Edwards does. I think that, as I said about striking being a bit better, from a technical point, definitely so. I think Usman is so powerful. I think all the Usmans are. I feel like it's just some genetic freak of harmony
I bet that dad has knocked some people out in the streets.
in the streets. Oh, I don't know about that, but well, maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, no, I mean, Usman, he just hits different, and he's such a heavy, big guy. And it's I think Leon Edwards, he's powerful, but he's not that powerful, and that's always going to be expected. I think that Leon Edwards, he's very good on the ground,
Yeah.
like very very good on the ground. Obviously, it's different to being good on the ground as to being held against a cage by Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think if it does get taken to the ground, I don't think it would necessarily be assuming that he's not completely mounted or he's not in such a dominant position at side control where he just ain't moving. I don't think it's necessarily going to be completely dominant. I could be very wrong. I think it would be interesting to see if he does take it to the ground to see how he does, and it'd be interesting to see how Leon defends it.
Yeah. I think he could defend the takedowns. I'd actually like to see the scrambles between them because Leon's jiu-jitsu has improved a lot. He's got very people don't realize Leon's like one of the most perfect MMA fighters you can create if he had more knockout power. And I think that kind of right hand he throws is kind of looping, it leaves him a bit open, and that's why Nate Diaz caught him with the 1-2. And it was kind of the same punch what Usman knocked out Masvidal with. So if Nate Diaz is almost knocking you out with that punch, if Usman can find the same one, then he's going to take your chin off. So I think he's got to be careful for that one. But yeah, so I think the grappling exchanges, I think it will happen. Do you think that because of all the knockouts recently, Kamaru's kind of fallen in love with the striking a bit too much, and he's going to go out and just try and have a kickboxing match with this guy?
I mean, for Kamara's sake, I hope not.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will because I feel like although he's landed some splendid knockouts, I feel like I just don't feel like he's going to go into it. I think that he's got too good a corner, too good a support network and whatnot to go out and actively make the decision to do that. Whether he will or not, I'm not too sure. It could very well work. But at the same time, Leon Edwards stand up. He's very, as you said, perfect MMA fighter in the sense, he's just very versatile. Technically, he's very good on point. Technically,
I think the leg kicks are going to be a massive problem for Usman. Usman's one of these guys who looks like he skipped a few leg days. Do you know what I mean? He's so top heavy, and I think if you kick the legs out first, then I think that's a good tactic. But I think going back to Kamara falling in love with his striking, I think he's still capable of winning the fight if it's a kickboxing match, just because
Yeah, yeah,
finding the
100%.
shot. But I think Leon will be piecing him up a bit, and then that's when it will be going to the grappling exchanges. I think he'll come out and look to strike with him early and realize that he needs to mix it up to be able to win the fight. And for me, the prediction's a hard one because I truly believe Leon can win this, but that Nate Diaz punch just keeps going through my head, and I can just see Kamaru landing a similar punch and ending the fight. But I am actually going to go with Leon Edwards' decision. It's a bit biased, and I kind of lean Usman, but I truly believe he can get the job done, and Leon can be the second British champion.
See, I would absolutely love for Leon to win it, but in my personal opinion, I can't see it happening. Not because I don't believe he's good enough, not because I don't believe that he's capable of it. I think the primary issue which he's going to be facing is that you made a good point about the leg kicks. I feel like, those leg kicks could seriously batter him.
Mm,
But I feel like the leg kicks could also potentially be a downfall. All it takes for him is to secure one takedown
mm,
from a leg kick. And I feel like, although he's like the very top heavy guy, and he is a very top heavy guy, he's built like, a ton of bricks
mm.
on top. I feel like, that ton of bricks, it's still going to take a lot of leg kicks, albeit how sharp his leg kicks are and how technical they are and how they
Fast,
hit and
man.
land and it's the right place as well. You know what I mean?
I think that no matter what, Leon's gonna go in and use leg kicks.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like a lot of leg kicks. Like it will be like the Diaz fight, in my opinion, where he's just chopping the leg the whole
Mm.
time, and it could get him taken down. But I don't necessarily think he's worried about getting taken down. I think he's confident that he can scramble back to his feet. That doesn't necessarily mean he can, but it's going to be. I'm so excited for this main event.
See, I think the main issue is like even if he did scramble back to his feet, that transition period between getting back on his feet and getting back into the position he needs to be in with Kamara's power, it's gonna be easy to connect. Or no,
Yeah,
not I don't want to say easy because it's not gonna be easy at all. But it's gonna be there's always gonna be opportunity to connect. And the moment he gets that opportunity, the moment he lands a few of his shots, it could very much be game over. I'm gonna go for a decision, Usman.
mm.
Not that I do really want Leon Evans to win this one. That would be absolutely mental.
We've got to do some sort of special if Leon wins because there'll be some sort of parade in England where he brings the belt back. Do you know, like you
Yeah,
see like Prahashka bring it back to like I want that. We'll go to that and we'll do like some vlog or something if that happens.
that would be absolutely
Yeah,
mental. Get a coach and
yeah,
everything.
I'd definitely do that. If Leon Edwards brings the belt back to England, man, we've got to be there for his return fight or something. That would be massive for the UK.
Wasn't Euro Praska's when didn't they like bring like a coach for like
Mm.
the Czech
Yeah,
Republic or
it looked like, that when like a football team or a soccer team wins like a title and there's just like like mass thousands of people turn out
those
there.
big like Chelsea buses
Yeah,
going through
yeah,
London?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I want that. I want Leon Edwards still on a coach and just thousands of people stood around it.
That'd be so cool. I mean, to be fair, like I think that I would love to I would absolutely love to see that. Leon Edwards, where's he from? Do you know?
Yeah, I think obviously he's from Birmingham, but I think he originally is Jamaica, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, okay, but if he's like Birmingham, like base
Yeah,
fans,
yeah.
let's see. Ah, fair enough. That'd be mad to be fair.
Mm.
That'd be mad for Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean they've always been known to be sort of one of the best cities in England for fighting. I think Michael Bisping said he used to go there to wrestle, like that was the only place you could go and wrestle as a kid. And a lot of good Muay Thai fighters have come out of Birmingham. A lot of good MMA fighters have come out. Fabian Edwards is looking sharp as hell as well.
Mm.
Leon's little brother. I went to watch his fight in Bellator. And he knocked out Leo Machida, which was crazy in the first round.
That's mental to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, he looks sharp, man. I think he might be in the UFC one day if he don't want to stay in Bellator.
Didn't he fight someone quite local to here as well?
Yeah, it was isn't
Copenhagen.
it Ken Copenhagen? He's like, where's he from?
I think he's from like Chippenham way.
Yeah, yeah. I
Is
mean,
it
a
not?
lot of people have no idea what we're on about right
Well,
now.
it's not far from where we are. Basically,
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's all around this West Country area.
yeah. I think he knocked down Fabian and then got armbarred like right afterwards, it was a good fight. Ken did well.
back to that Edward ground game. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it should be a really just one. I'm looking forward to it. That would be amazing to see him
Yeah.
as a champion.
I
But
sorry, I had a question. Do you think, I'm not necessarily saying he'll give as many problems as Kobe did, but do you think on paper this is a harder matchup than the Kobe Covenant fights?
it's a hard one really because the Kobe Covington fights were very, very challenging, and
Mm,
on paper they were always going to be hard. On paper, I feel like let's say we were to rewind it a little bit, before those fights happened, on paper they were probably some of the hardest fights he's ever going to face in his
yeah,
career.
yeah. I mean, both of them were absolute slugfest.
I think he's going to provide issues with them. I don't know how many issues he's going to provide. I feel like a lot of them are going to be different issues.
Yeah, I agree.
I think a lot of it's going to be a matter of just pace,
Precision striking as well.
precision striking, accuracy, the pace in which the striking,
Mm.
goes, fast leg kicks.
There's an extra pop on it. Leon doesn't necessarily have knockout power, but I mean he does have knockout power, but compared to Kobe, he has an extra pop on his punch as well.
Mm.
Like if Leon lands the same punches that Kobe did, he could get the finish. I can't see him finishing Usman. I would be very surprised if he did, but I think he can kind of point pick to a decision. I think that's how it will play out. That's what I
I
think.
feel like if he's going to win, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think I'm going to stick with my decision because I feel like my third round battle, that's what I genuinely believe is going to happen. But
Mm,
regardless, I mean, it's not a write off at all,
mm.
not a write off any at all. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here.
Yeah, we were going to go into some news, but I think we've spoke long enough.
Too much, too much. I'm
Yeah.
always getting tired. But now, no, thank you very much for listening to Combat Chat Podcast. This is number 11, I believe.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. We're in the process of some pretty big ideas for the YouTube channel, so we hope to bring that to you guys soon.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Enjoy.
Thanks.